This is the project, the activity called the Energy Story. And it's all about the transfer of one form of energy to another form of energy. Only it's not in the hard, cold terms of the physics book, but it's about an adventure of a little action figure. So you got all this stuff. Every group of 2 or 3 kids gets all this stuff. And then before you start, you talk about energy. So you have to kind of describe the different kinds of energy and the way they change from one form to another, and the sort of base idea of the conservation of energy. How energy is never made, never lost, it's just changing forms. So there's gravitational energy. Whenever you drop something, it's turning the gravitational energy into motion energy. So when you have something up high, it's got potential energy ready to pull that down and do work, make some motion. You've got magnetic energy. This magnet, it's a little bit like gravity. It's ready to pull iron things till they touch it. It's changing that magnetic field into motion when you let it. There's also electrical energy. This is actually chemical energy inside the battery. That's another kind of potential energy ready to do work. And if you give it a wire, and connect the positive to the negative, it goes running around there and makes electrical energy. If you hold that on there, it'll get a little bit hot. Ooh, there's heat energy. And then if you put it through the motor, then the motor starts turning. That's electromagnetic energy. So you pinch the wire on one side of the battery and the motor starts turning. That's electromagnetic energy making the motor turning into rotational motion energy. There's also our energy. We ate food this morning and it gave us energy, and that's what's giving us the power to move things around, and our muscles to move our body, and our brain to think, and our body to keep warm. That's also biochemical energy. And then there's also the energy of the wind. When air moves, that's another kind of energy of motion. All the energy of motion is called kinetic energy. When something's moving, it has energy because it's moving. So all these energies you can kind of describe to the students, and then you give them all this stuff. And here's the challenge. You're gonna make a little monito, little action figure out of the pipe cleaners, and then you have that little action figure go through a series of activities where she's using energy and changing it from one form to another. It doesn't have to be that each one is connected or each one makes the next one go. You just have to have it as part of the story. The students are making up a story, and then at the end, they'll show their story to the other students, and they'll describe the forms of energy. And they need to change energy forms at least 5 times. And you can do it up to 10 times in a little story. They each have 1 minute or maybe 2 minutes to tell their story to the rest of the class. All right, so here's a couple of tips on how to make things. If you cut your pipe cleaner in half, cut both pipe cleaners in half, then you can make your little monito by making a little head and 2 feet. If you make little fat feet, it'll stand up better. You use the other one to make the arms. But you could do it however you want. And you could cut it so the arms aren't quite so long. And there you have the monito. Every group should have scissors from your class and tape. There's tape in the kit, and you can just take off a piece of tape like that and give it to each group. Get that tape, and if they need more tape, you give them some more tape. All right? So now the kit comes with a straw and a nail. You can put the straw around the nail, and in fact you could cut it off so that it's a little bit shorter than the nail. And then the nail spins inside the straw. And then there's a cork, and the cork has a hole. It's a pilot hole. You push the cork onto the nail, and then it spins like that. Then you could tape that straw onto the block. Every group gets a little block, and you tape it on there. Like this, then it's free to move, it's free to spin. You're gonna need several pieces of tape. So it spins like that. Then if you take the string, you've got one little piece of thread in here. And you can use the thread, and it's easier if you tape the thread. You could tie the thread, but it's easier to tape it. You tape it right to the cork, like that, and then you could get one of these push pins. You could push it on there like that. Now the cork moves and pulls the threads up. Okay, and then you, at the other end of the thread, you could put one of these clips. Got a big binder clip and a small binder clip. I'm gonna put the big binder clip there. I'm gonna tie it on. Just take this, just make one little knot, and then I'm gonna tape it so it doesn't come undone. And then I can take one of these cups. I'm gonna put the cup on the end of the binder clip like that. These are just ideas. You could do it however you want. So now, if you bring the cup up like this, pulls it up, and then if you let it go, it goes back down. And by the way, you can stick your little monito into the cup. Like that. Wow! All right, so that's something you could do. You could also take your cup and you could cut it little slits all around the edge like this. Not too small. All the way around, more or less the same size. And then you could open it up like this. That's a little, it's like a sunflower. And then you could twist one. Twist each one to the side, each one to the same side. Go all the way around, twisting each one to the same side. And then it's already starting to turn. You need to give it something to turn on. Well, how about that little cork? You could put the cup onto the cork with the other two push pins. If you just push one, then it's gonna be able to spin on itself. If you put two almost in the center of the cup, then it turns. It's not turning because the string is pulling on it. But watch this. I'm gonna take the string, put it not around the cork, but around the nail. Make it around the nail like that. And then I'm gonna blow on it. Make sure it stays on the nail. You see that? I'm raising the cup up. The energy from my breath. Good? Now if I let it go, nothing happens. If I give it a little start like that, maybe it'll start going down. I give it a little bit more weight. It goes cruising down there. Now it's making wind. It's blowing air at my hand. So that was pretty cool. You could take the string again, roll it around the cork, roll it all the way to the top, and do that again. Put the weight in there. Now it's going around the cork, so it's gonna be a different speed. Before it was around the nail, now it's around the cork. Now check it out. Woo! Goes faster. Doesn't go as long, but it goes faster. So that's pretty interesting. That's taking the taking the potential energy of gravity and turning it into rotational energy, and then that's kinetic energy of the wind blowing away from the cups. Okay, and that little monito had a great adventure coming from the top to the bottom. So now let's check out the motor. The motor has two little ears, and the wire you could put through the ear. You could actually cut the wire if you want, and put one through one ear, one through the other ear, and then you get a little piece of tape, and you can tape the wire to the end of the battery. Maybe the flat end, sort of butt of the battery right there. And then the other end, you don't need the wire. The other end could go right on the other ear. This sort of cap on the battery goes to the other ear, and the motor starts going. All right, so another thing you've got in your kit is a nub, a little glue stick nub. And if you take the push pin and push a little hole in the middle of your nub, I'll put the push pin back in the cork, then that nub will go onto the motor shaft. Like, where'd it go? So then there's a little nub on there. Well, check this out. Now, if I put the motor right next to something, I can rub on it and it starts to spin. Oh, it's too heavy. I'll put it over here. I'll put it on the nail again. It's easier when the string is going around the nail. It's not staying on the nail. I'm gonna take the cup off. I don't care about that cup right now. I'm gonna take the string and the cup off, put them over here, and then get my little motor hooked up to here. And you can see how, if you had it all set up just right, it'll make the cup go. I'm gonna go on the motor, on the cork itself here. Okay, so it's pulling the cork, it's pushing the cork and making the fan go. Now, of course, you could put the cork straight on the motor if you wanted, and you could put the string straight on the motor, like that. And see what happens there. But your little monito jumps off the table into the cup, and then all of a sudden, the cup starts to rise with the strength of the motor. Oops, I taped the motor shut. You can't do that. Got to make sure the connection is good. And it comes up and it raises it all the way to the top. And right when it gets to the top, it starts going around the other way. Oh, now the string got caught in the motor. And it starts spinning around, and then the cup starts spinning around. Now everything is spinning around. And the little monito's getting sick. He's getting all dizzy until the battery runs out of energy and it lets it back down. And it starts running across the table again, all the way to the magnet. And the magnet's sitting over here, and the monito's down here, and he jumps over to the magnet and he's sticking on the magnet. And then the magnet swings over the edge. You know, you get the idea. It could be any number of adventures. A little tray could also be part of the adventure. It could be pulled across there, could be sliding, it could have the motor mounted on it, anything you want. A world of possibilities. All right, so remember the challenge is at least 5 transitions of energy, and the little action figure has to take part in each one of the transitions of energy. And then you give them maybe half an hour to make their little story, each little group, and then you go around the room and listen to each one of the stories. I forgot to mention at the beginning, you could set these things out and have the groups come up and pick up one of each one and then go sit down. You could also put one of each thing into the little tray and then just pick up the whole tray. Some things don't fit in the tray very well, the straw and the cups and the block, but you could put them separate. And then you could also add more stuff. Like there's no limit to how much stuff they can find stuff around the room. They could make their whole adventure over by the bookcase or by the pencil sharpener, whatever you want to make. This is supposed to be a creativity-led activity where in the end they're coming to understand the change in energy. As they tell their story, you're pointing out. If they miss it, you say, oh, now what kind of energy was that? Where did that energy come from? Where did it go? And they pretty soon they get the idea about changing forms of energy. I think that's it. Have fun. Oh, when it's over, then they get to decide in the group who wants to take the motor home, who wants to take the magnet home, who wants to take the nail. So you don't have to keep this stuff hanging around till next year, unless you want. You could try to get it back from them, but they might really enjoy playing with this stuff, so let them take it home. Okay, have fun.